The sun. I think one of the most important things for us to understand when we're setting up aquariums is there's a ton of different stuff out there. Like legit, a ton. Lights, filtration, but this video is all about lights. The right light for you, for your African cichlid tank. Heck, any freshwater tank. Come on. What's going on, everybody? It's Jay Wilson, and I know that you've come to this video for one reason. What is the absolute best light for my aquarium? And the answer is not very easy because it depends. Do you keep plants? Do you have deep tanks? Do you just have fish-only tanks? What is the best light? What am I looking for? Am I looking for coloration? The hue, the ability to add more color, take more color out. How many Kelvins? Do I really need to pay attention to par? Do I want the shimmer? Do I want a flicker? What? There's too many things. So I'm gonna break it down for you really easy. And before I do that, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and yeah, leave a comment. What light are you using and how did you choose it? So let's get into the first piece of this video, and that is, what lights do I use? Kessil and Reef Bright. I really enjoy Reef Bright because they're just an LED strip. They can be mounted. They're extruded aluminum, I believe. Very easy to just plug and play. The only thing I don't like about them is when I am filming or taking photos or even just trying to video some stuff, for me, there is a flicker. So if there's a flicker that's being picked up, and that's when I'm only using the dimmer up and down. If I take the dimmer off and I just leave it at its normal brightness, I don't get any of that. But as somebody that suffers from headaches, even though I can't physically see that, it could be posing a risk to my head. And it's very frustrating. And it's not anything to do with, you know, how they're operating. Sometimes LEDs go off and on. Your house LEDs, all of my pucks in my house do the same thing. So on the Tanganyika tank and the turtle tank currently, I have only Kessil. Kessil doesn't do that because of the light emitting diodes, the LEDs that they use, but also the way they have them densely populated together. It's insane how many they can get. And the shimmer that it provides is second to none. So when it comes to growing plants, if that's what you're doing, whatever the case is, then, I mean, this is perfect. So yeah, I'm using Kessil. Now let's find out what color you would really want for keeping African cichlid. It's not fact at all. What it is me and what I believe looks the best. Now, if you were just gonna do one color like I did, there is zero RGB happening in there. There's only whites. And I really enjoy the Kelvin of, I don't know, I'd like to say about 6,500 to 7,500, I think looks the most natural and pulls out a lot of natural colors. Now what I can do is if I want to bring some blues in and so I can get those greens and blues from those fish shimmering even better than they already are, one, I either get better fish or I can add a tuna blue from Kessil to create that. Now if you're using your typical, you know, strip, you may not be able to dim it. You may plug it in and that's it. So there are some that come with an app which allow you to customize it, which is super beneficial so that you can bring that color up or bring that color down, adding more reds, pulling greens out. Those are all fine and good, but for just fish, they don't need any specific light. So it really comes down to your affordability, what you're looking for, and what is attractive for you. I happen to really like the coloration that the Kessil A360X Tuna Suns put out. It's super natural when the water's breaking at the top, almost as if it penetrated down in the lake. And the other reason is this tank is very tall, so LED strips tend to just kind of break the light, I don't know, right before the bottom, so it really doesn't lighten the tank the way I want to. And that's kind of frustrating for me. And that's my choice because, well, I have a taller tank. So for your African cichlids, there is no right light. There is no wrong light. There is no right color or wrong color. What there is time. How long should I keep those on and what intensity? And we're going to talk about that next. So another thing to think about is this moonlight thing. Fish don't have moonlight. They really don't. They also don't have eyelids. So you don't want it to be completely dark in your room necessarily, but what you do want is you want some sort of ambient light hitting, whether it's a night light, it's a light that hits from another room. However, when it comes to moonlight, turn that thing off. Your light should not be on any longer than 8 hours. And if you have direct sunlight, your tank is warm, you feed often, you've got larger fish, you're gonna find yourself in a world of hurt, my friend. So the idea is keep those lights on no longer than 8 hours and shift your light pattern. If you're getting a lot of natural sunlight, shift your artificial light pattern to maybe a few hours when you're home in the evening or during the day, whatever your schedule is, to view your fish. But your fish don't technically need that light. Is it bad for them? No. Is too much light bad? Probably, yeah. And, well, it's also less of a frustration when it comes to growing algae. Now, I keep my lights on, they go on at 1 and they go off at 7. So mine are really only on 6 hours. I really enjoy that. If I want to turn them on, I can easily do that to view my fish. But more importantly, it provides the same actual pattern of light. There's nothing specific I need for fish only. These fish don't require any UVB to convert anything. They literally just have sunlight. And most of them are so deep in the lake that it's so murky and dark that they probably don't even need a ton of light at all. One of the things I wanted to talk about is maintenance of your light. Do I have to do any maintenance? And the answer is yes and no. If water is splashing on it, you're gonna wanna wipe that down every once in a while. But with my Kessels per se, they're open for air to dissipate all the heat. So they've got a fan in there. I can dial them in. There's also some Wi-Fi stuff, but you're gonna wanna spray this every once in a while, especially if you have a saltwater tank. If you ended up getting this far, you're definitely gonna wanna clean this up because you don't want any dust or any moisture significantly approaching inside to clog anything down. That's the best words I can use. I have a special mount right there, as you can see, for these over my canopy because you cannot see them. But I just love, can you see that? I just love it. So maintenance, not much. Wipe it down, spray it out with some canned air, blow it, and you should be good to go. But just make sure that you're taking care of your equipment. You're put hard-earned dollars into this, you should be taking care of it. But Jay, what if I have, plants with my African cichlids? Those are reef brights only on this tank. However, for penetration deeper, I'm going to have to shift to a couple Kessels, but they do really well growing those plants up top. Now, of course, good moisture, soil play a huge role regardless of your light. But more importantly for me, if you are going to grow plants in an African cichlid tank, then you are going to want to get a very specific light. And that light depends on your aquarium. How deep is it? How wide is it? What's the spread? We can get into numbers. PAR is kind of one of those numbers that you can manipulate a little bit, but ultimately you want to have a light that is easily penetrable to the bottom to give that plant exactly what it needs. Based on what I know, what I've researched and looked at, and that's a whole nother video, I just believe that light provides far better growth if it's the proper light, the proper spread, and the nutrients are proper inside your soil than CO2 could ever provide. But that's me. But the choice is yours. What is the best light? Ultimately for me, it's Kessel, and I've got some reef brights. Kessel seems to provide far better penetration through the water than I have ever seen from any other light that I've used. I've used some very high-end lights, and I've used some very, very low-end lights. My fish don't require any specific needs, especially in this Tanganyikan tank. So the shimmer, the coloration, and how it reflects off the fish make this tank extremely enjoyable for me. And that's what you have to find out. If you're going after a bright, what we think is white, but there's a lot of blue hue to it, 10K is far too blue. So I would lean towards the spectrum of 7,500 to about 8,000 K. and that should provide you that crisp white light. Again, I appreciate you coming this far, checking out the amazing aquariums, talking about lights, what the best light is for you. And when it comes to African cichlids, it really is whatever light you can afford and whatever light you specifically want to use. And it can come down to quite a few things: money, space, what you have, what you don't have, what you want to do. For me, it just happens to be Kessel. So that's it. That's all I got. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, commenting. You know what's next. I love you, and holla!